Chair recognizes the Honourable Member for Fox Hill.
Oh, Fox Hill. Senior. Oh, you're senior.
Yeah, sorry. On the 1st of January 2015, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas became the chair of the Caribbean Community of Nations called CARICOM. This is a signal honor for our country. The chairmanship means that for the next 6 months, the principal spokesman for the 15-member group of nations will be the Prime Minister of the Bahamas. Our Prime Minister will be expected to present the views of CARICOM states to the world and to chair its meetings. One of the first duties of this occasion was the statement made by the Prime Minister on behalf of CARICOM at the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC, and China, held on the 8th and 9th of January in Beijing. The Prime Minister has 2 further duties in the short term, that of attending and speaking on behalf of CARICOM at the meeting between U.S. Vice President Joseph Biden in Washington, D.C. on the 26th of January on energy matters, and he will also attend the CELAC Summit on the 28th and 29th of January in San Jose, Costa Rica, in the same capacity. The Bahamas will be the host of the intersessional meeting of the heads of government of CARICOM on the 26th and 27th of February in Nassau at the Malia Cable Beach Hotel. During that meeting, the Prime Minister will be seeking the support of member states for a special initiative on human development for the region, including investment in young people, particularly through sports and culture, and with a view to addressing joblessness and despair in the region amongst young people. I now report on the recent trip by a delegation of the Bahamas to the People's Republic of China. There were 2 components to the trip. The principal reason that took the Bahamas to China was for our participation in the first ministerial forum of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States and the People's Republic of China in Beijing from the 8th to the 9th of January. The second and equally important reason was to take advantage of the presence in China of the Right Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance to conduct high-level talks with the Chinese President and the Chinese Premier, as well as Chinese leaders of industry, all to attract their attention to possible business investments on their part in the Bahamas. The Prime Minister and myself, along with officers from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Embassy of the Bahamas in Beijing, represented the Bahamas at the CELAC-China Forum with respect to the bilateral talks with Chinese officials and business persons that took place in Beijing and Shanghai during and after the forum. The Honourable Minister of Tourism, Minister of Transport and Aviation, Subaltern Bethel, the Special Political Advisor to the Prime Minister, and other officers in the Office of the Prime Minister joined the delegation to the CELAC-China Forum. Let me begin with the CELAC-China Forum. The first ministerial forum provided an avenue for closer overall cooperation between the 2 sides and for a profound impact on the future development of relations between China and the CELAC member states. For this forum, China sends a of its commitment to strengthening unity and coordination in promoting South-South cooperation. Within the framework of the forum, China looks forward to increasing its dialogue and cooperation with regional and sub-regional organizations and ensuring the success of the E-China Caribbean Economic Trade Cooperation Forum that will create a comprehensive and well-designed network for overall development. Initial preparations for the contact between the 2 sides are made through CELAC, the CELAC Quartet, CELAC's governing body on which the Bahamas sits. The Bahamas, as chair of the CARICOM, became the CARICOM rotating chair on the CELAC Quartet, which consists of Costa Rica, Ecuador, Cuba, and the Bahamas. As such, it was pivotal for us to be in China for this important meeting between our region and one of the major global players. The meeting was preceded by negotiation meetings of national coordinators of sides to finalize the outcome documents for the forum, namely the Beijing Declaration, Cooperation Plan, and the institutional arrangements and operating rules. The Beijing Declaration recorded the understanding reached between CELAC and China on the partnership going forward and the triennial meetings that are to take place. The CELAC-China Cooperation Plan identifies the key areas and specific measures of cooperation between China and CELAC. These include political and security matters, international affairs, trade, investment, and financial matters, infrastructure and transportation, energy and resources, agriculture, industry, science and technology, aviation and aerospace, education and human resources, trading, cultural and sports, press, media and publication, tourism, environmental protection, disaster reduction, poverty alleviation, health, and the promotion of people-to-people friendships. And the institutional arrangements and operational rules of the CELAC Forum define the platform for intergovernmental cooperation. The first day of the forum saw the convening of the opening session with the heads of state and government and the launch of the forum with addresses by the President of China, Costa Rica, Ecuador, and Prime Minister of the Bahamas. And then they were joined by the President of Venezuela. All spoke to the present and future relations between China and CELAC. The meeting continued over the next 2 days with mostly foreign ministers of China and CELAC deliberating on matters pertaining to the forum. And the summit is to take place on the 28th and 29th of January. There was also a session between the Chinese foreign minister and the foreign ministers of the CARICOM countries who have diplomatic relations with China. China has become an important source for capital and development assistance for our region, with some $3 billion on offer for China for the region and its development. The commitment of the Bahamas to the CELAC process is measured against the importance of CELAC to the Bahamas. Our participation in the meeting in China and all the major meetings from the first meetings in 2010 that led to the formation of CELAC in 2012 and the first 2 summit meetings in Chile and Cuba confirms the high importance the government places in that institution. CELAC provides a medium through which priorities of the Bahamas may be addressed among member states with similar concerns and experiences, finding solutions of the South-South dialogue process. CELAC also provides a medium for a large group of developing countries to forge a united front in the face of global challenges like climate change. It also provides access to investments in the Latin American and Caribbean region. With all of the above in play, CELAC members strive to forge a common identity in a multipolar world, making CELAC a better partner with which to develop stronger international relations. In terms of the bilateral visit, which took place in Beijing and Shanghai from the 7th to the 11th of January, you heard earlier this morning that ministers responsible for tourism and transport and aviation were part of the prime ministerial delegation for reasons that the components of their portfolios directly connected to the business purposes of the visit in China. In Beijing, the visit occasioned high-level meetings with the President of China and the Premier, as well as meetings with business persons, including K.T. Lim, Chairman of Genting Resorts World, representatives of the China Export-Import Bank, representatives of China Construction Company, representatives of CGGC, another major construction company, representatives of the China Harbor Company, responsible for the Abaco Harbor Project, and representatives of Hainan Airlines, and representatives of the China National Tourism Administration. The Prime Minister also met with Sarkis Varelian of Bahama. It was in that meeting with the China Export-Import Bank that the opening date for the Bahama project was confirmed at the 27th of March this year. The visit of the President with the President and the Premier reaffirmed China's Office of Development assistance on concessionary terms and the desire to assist the country generally in its development agenda. It remains for the country to identify projects that can be advanced on those concessional terms. On behalf of the Bahamas, I signed the Bahamas Agricultural Marine Science Institute, BAMSI, a memorandum of understanding with China Ocean University for cooperation between that university and BAMSI in marine scientific study and observation with the possibility of joint academic programs. Further, you heard already from the Minister of Transport and Aviation that a memo of understanding on the agreed terms of an air services agreement, which is to be signed between the two countries within a few weeks, was also initialed. This air services agreement will be the key to expanded air service directly between China and the Bahamas and will assist in supporting the viability of the tourism product of Bahama. Most importantly, during the meeting with the President, China declared that in principle it was agreed that the Bahamas can become a center for the trading of securities and debt settlement in the RMB yuan currency of the People's Republic of China, making the Bahamas only the 9th country where this is possible in the world. We believe that once this agreement is finalized and permission granted, that this will be a boon for the financial services sector at the Bahamas. The Prime Minister also conducted interviews with the Chinese press agencies during the visit. In Shanghai, the visit provided calls on the mayor of the city, who had visited Nassau in 2002 when he was lobbying for Shanghai's bid to host the World Expo in 2010. The leadership of United Imaging, specializing in ultramodern machinery for magnetic resonance imaging, which wished to change the Made in China label to Invented in China in terms of innovation and technology. The leadership of the Xinjiang Group, headed by CEO Mrs. Li Xiong, whose multifaceted company is set to take over the Louvre Hotel Group, and the leadership of China Eastern Airlines, which company is affiliated with SkyTeam International Aviation Alliance. In all of his dealings with the Chinese high officials and business persons, the Prime Minister proposed the important benefits to both China and the Bahamas in China's investments in many parts of the Bahamas, and that the Bahamas would welcome the consideration by China of the same. I quote the Prime Minister, "I've come here to talk trade and investment and the expansion of tourism, education, more broadly human development, the expansion in air services, and cooperation in maritime affairs." The major discussion points included, in no particular order, interest in having China create direct airlift from China to the Bahamas, in view of the fact that the Bahamas is the gateway to the rest of the Caribbean, the construction and development with China's support of the Baha Ma Resort in New Providence, the visa waiver agreement signed in 2013, and the new facilities at the Lynden Pindling International Airport. Access would be improved and facilitated to many more Chinese tourists and business persons alike. The Prime Minister did indicate that the Bahamas was aware of an announcement made that China would establish a direct flight to Havana, Cuba, later this year. Interest in having China invest in taking over the major development left unfinished by GIM in Grand Bahama due to the global recession, and possible management of the Baha Ma Resort by a Chinese hotel management company. The Chinese high officials and business leaders were receptive to the proposals of the Bahamas and have indicated that they would follow up actively on the same. In my estimation, this visit to China was resonantly fruitful and indicative of the excellent relations which exist between the Bahamas and China. And honourable members of Parliament will be kept informed of developments. In summary then, Mr. Speaker, I would reiterate that the official visit to China, which is the second one by this Prime Minister, was a resounding success. The interactions proved fruitful for the development capital which we need for our country. The people-to-people exchanges will enrich the cultural milieu of both countries. We live in a global village, and both countries have much that they can learn from each other based on mutual respect with no conditionality. We are, as the Chinese would say, in a win-win situation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.